a lot of the things on Cartoon Network are just us as adults. Like that's one of the things that makes Cartoon Network so great is that now I relate to so much of it. For example, there's that one episode of Pop-Up Girls where a guy turns evil because his life is perfect.
I remember this episode.
And, like his life is basically every day it's on repeat. So he wakes up, his wife gets everything ready, she makes breakfast. She's like, "You'll never guess what's for breakfast." Yep. Pancakes. And then he goes to his job, he fills mustard jars all day. And then he comes home, he gets the same dinner, he eats peas, and then it's the same exact thing, which is literally basically showing us what it's like to be an adult.
Yeah, that episode.
Like being an adult is basically, it's so good. And then the professor's like, "My life is so perfect." He's just singing this song about his life being so perfect as the guy is fucking miserable. That guy is us. And so it's just great, like seeing how, you know, being the guy that has the wife and kids and
I
the
forgot
job
about
and,
that until, like, it's hard to remember specific episodes, but as soon as you said it, I remembered that episode, and that episode really is fucking tragic. Because
eat the pea, professor. Eat the pea. Like he goes crazy. He basically loses it, which is what mental health. He has a mental health breakdown.
Yeah.
But that episode, I relate to it.
He's just kind of forced into, like, you know, that work culture.
Yeah, society. Yeah. You have to survive. He married. He had children. He works, and your life is on repeat.
And like
next
he has a great life in quotes.
Yes,
like, he makes good money. He's got a good house. He's got a wife and kids. Like he should be happy. But
but that's just not fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that episode's very deep. And as a kid, it's just a funny episode. But when you're older, you're like, damn, man, that guy was going through it. He needed a therapist.
It's fucked up.
That guy snapped. He put a gun, like it wasn't a real gun, but he put a gun up the professor's head and made him eat a pea. Yeah. And that is one of the funniest scenes ever, because when the professor sticks the fork into the pea and slowly puts it into his mouth, and then they show him chew it for like literally 30 seconds. Like he chews it, and then like it's just like going from left to right, and then his cheeks are getting swollen, then they get small, swollen, then small, and then after a while, the guy gets to know, he's like, "Swallow it," and the professor actually, you know, he swallows the pea. But a lot of people, I hopefully remember that episode. It's one of the best to me, just because now as an adult, I can relate to it. Like I'm not miserable. I'm not on the brink of a psychotic snap or anything, but I relate to the idea of feeling like your life is on repeat and just doing something that make you shake it up, like starting a podcast, for example.
Yeah.
So yeah, bringing it back to Pop-Up Girls. But I love Tom and Jerry. Another big one is Scooby-Doo.
Dude, Scooby-Doo and a million spinoffs, right? Because Scooby-Doo existed before
13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, a pup named Scooby-Doo.
What's new, Scooby-Doo?
What's new, Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo, Dooby-Doo.
And then there's like I think a pup named Scooby-Doo is the one with their kids, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the dreaded Everybody Hates Scrappy-Doo, which when I was younger I didn't hate Scrappy-Doo, and I mean I
didn't hate him at all.
I still don't hate Scrappy-Doo, but
puppy power.
For anybody that does or doesn't know, Scrappy-Doo, I guess we were kids at the time, so we weren't like the boomers of that era. But Scooby-Doo was like a classic cartoon, and then the Scooby-Doo fans, right? I guess the people that were like 17 at the time or whatever, when Scrappy-Doo got introduced, like everybody, like the old school fans of Scooby-Doo hated Scrappy-Doo. It became such a hated member of the series that when they made the Scooby-Doo movie, I don't know if you guys remember, spoiler alert for the Scooby-Doo movie, you know, whatever. But
stop. We're not giving a spoiler alert for the Scooby-Doo movie.
The big reveal of who the villain is in the Scooby-Doo movie is that it's Scrappy. Scrappy-Doo is the villain of that movie. And the guy that made that movie said he pretty much did that because he hates Scrappy.
Damn, so he made him the villain out of hate? Yeah. That's insane. I love Scooby-Doo growing up, though. I loved every version of Scooby-Doo. So the original one that, again, my dad probably watched, and the graphics are not up to par with like some of the newer versions. A pup named Scooby-Doo was amazing, and I was just singing a song, which after over 20 years, I still know the words to that song. And then 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo was really cool, and they had some sorcerer dude that kind of reminds me of Doctor Strange now that I think about it.
Yo, do you remember, like, I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I'm going to just say Scooby-Doo and Friends, where it'd be like Scooby-Doo and Batman, or Scooby-Doo and the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes, randomly. I like those episodes too, where they had the Harlem Globetrotters. They made me think that those were like magical people in real life. You remember the episodes, they would just do fucking magic, basically. They would be doing magical things with the ball.
They were insane.
Like Fat Albert and Scooby-Doo. It was ridiculous. Scooby-Doo had a lot of little spin-offs, a lot of crossovers. But yes, he taught us to trust no one, right? Because your biggest hater or the villain in your life is always somebody you know.
Yeah.
That was the lesson from Scooby-Doo. You unmask the villain and it's Professor Van Dyke.
Yeah,
it's like always someone you know. But you know what was fucked up? Fred was a fucking pimp and he always took the bitches.
He did always take the bitch. It
was always like he'd be like,
"All right, Shaggy, you go with the dog." He's, I'm going with the lady. I mean, I'm going over here.
I'm gonna take Daphne and Velma and go this way, and you take Scoob and go that way. And it's like, yo, first of all, they never ever found anything. The group of 3 people never found a single fucking thing. Ever. You know what they were doing? They were fucking. They were getting high and they were fucking.
They were fucking. You know what's crazy? In the age of the modern internet, I feel like the character from Scooby-Doo that everybody loves Velma now, and like Velma's like the one, like that's like when people talk about like the ideal, but like growing up,
because they draw her really thick and they have her with the glasses.
But it's funny because like if you look at the time period when the show was created, it's so obvious that Daphne was supposed to be the trophy girl.
She was conventionally beautiful in that sense.
Yeah, but where we are now in 2022, everybody's like, fuck Daphne, give me Velma.
Yeah, everyone wants Velma now. You're definitely right about that. Fred used to have his little ascot on, and he was a character. They were all great, though. I loved, Velma used to lose her glasses. She would always say jinkies.
Mm-hmm.
And let's split up, gang. Or, Shaggy and Scooby running from the ghost or whatever monster was chasing them every time.
Yeah, and they would get fucking high off Scooby snacks.
They get high off Scooby snacks. Also, obviously, Shaggy was definitely toting weed all the time. And in the movie, I think that it was kind of more obvious in a live action movie that Shaggy was a stoner.
Yeah, he's definitely a stoner.
The Mystery Machine, right? Like it's called Mystery Machine.
It's like a hippie. It's like a big hippie van too.
Yes. Yeah, they're hippies. They're like gypsies. That whole vibe. They're traveling around. They don't really have a home. They're just like 5 random people or 4 people and a dog. They just kind of go around and solve mysteries, but really just get high and stumble upon things and think that they solved.
How much you want to bet there's a fucking theory out there that like they didn't do any of the adventures they did. They were just high as fuck in the back of a van. And they're like, "Oh, Scoob!"
Not only that, but the dog was dead, and there's always like it gets real dark, right? Yeah. All of those creepypasta things, they always get real dark. That Scooby-Doo actually died when they were children, but they all had a dog named Scooby-Doo, and it brought them together. So he's been haunting them this entire time with ghosts. There's just some wild shit on the internet. You go on Reddit too long, and you go too deep into Reddit, you will find like the deepest, darkest, craziest shit of your childhood.
Did you watch? Okay.
No, go ahead. I was going to say there's some shows that I did not watch, and you started to talk about did you watch? So I want to hear what you were going to say.
So did you watch Kids Next Door?
Nope, and that was one of them. So I have a list of shows that I didn't watch, but I know they're extremely popular. One of them is Codename Kids Next Door, which I kind of saw some of it, but I never fully sat down and watched it. But that was one where they had like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 or whatever. Like people were.
This show, I was so fucking into this show, and it's one of those shows that I thought was so cool, but you're also jealous of it because I was like, man, I wish I could be in a fucking because. The premise of
Treehouse.
Yeah, the premise was that like all of the when you're a kid, you get like added to like this fucking secret agent group, and like you do things to protect kids from like adults, like save kids from like whatever. And so they had like a treehouse and number 1 and all this shit. It was really cool. And they just did like really cool, fun shit that would like kids, but then it's like recontextualized. I don't know. It's dope. But there is an episode that is blatantly like a Dragon Ball Z parody. Have you ever seen this?
I don't know.
There's a part, so there was like, I forget the name, but there was like these 4 like kids that were like really stuck up and preppy, and they always did everything their dad said. And so there's an episode where the animation changes, and they become Frieza. They become like a 4-headed Frieza, and they blatantly look like Frieza. The art changes, and then number 4, he's the one with the orange hoodie and the blonde hair. He goes like he's Goku. Like he goes Super Saiyan and they're fucking rumbling. And it's like legit, like they changed the animation and everything. And they're like, it's Goku and Frieza just rumbling and Codename Kids Next Door. But
I'm sure it's a show that I wouldn't mind watching even now because when I did catch glimpses of episodes, my best friend used to watch it. And when I would catch glimpses of episodes, I never was mad that it was on. But it's just something that for whatever reason, I don't know exactly why, I never was around or was watching TV when it was airing. Like whatever time it came on, for some reason I was always doing something else.
Yeah, you just didn't catch it. It was cool, man. I remember all like the main five. I remember them, and it was really cool. There was an episode where like they had to fight the lunch lady because the lunch lady was like serving like fucked up food, and she was like
which is what they do in real life.
She was like making like evil food and shit, so they had to go in and like fight the lunch lady and like fight her food creations.
So there's Codename Kids Next Door, and there's also Steven Universe, which is relatively newer compared to some of the other stuff.
So on the note of Steven Universe, I didn't really watch it because it's new, right? Obviously, I didn't watch it growing up. It's new, but recently it's on Hulu, and recently I've been watching it, and I'm on like season 3 or season 4. Steven Universe is actually really fucking good. I've been watching it. It's really fucking cool. I know there's a lot of people that don't like it because it's woke or progressive. I don't know. You guys are weird.
Yeah, like people just hate progress, which is a fucking weird hill to die on. But go off.
Because the show's, I would argue the show is really like progressive, but it's another one of those examples where, at least in my opinion, it doesn't feel like it's trying to like flaunt it. It doesn't feel like it's trying to be like, look how cool we are because we're progressive. It's just a show that's progressive and it feels fucking natural, and it's like really, it's just a really good show. But
because isn't Garnet blatantly black or something like that?
Yeah, I mean I would argue she's like what's the word I'm looking for? Because like she's not a human, right?
Yeah, none of them are human, but she has black woman's hair. It looks like she has like a kind of like a fro-ish.
She's definitely black, like a black analogy. I would, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
and I think her voice actor is black, or it sounds black when I heard it.
One of the things that they do in this is like the crystal gems. They can like fuse, and one of the fusions, it's garnet and amethyst, and the voice actor is Nicki Minaj. And
shit,
she actually does a great job. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. Nicki Minaj does a great job voicing the one character. Like,
I've heard amazing things about Steven Universe, specifically from another podcast called The Read, which is my favorite podcast in the world, next to the one that we do.
Mm-hmm.
But like, The Read is basically who this podcast like was kind of paying homage to when I first thought about the idea of really doing a podcast, because I listened to them every Thursday when it would come on. And I think that just this year it actually stopped because the main guy, Kid Fury, has an HBO show now. So shout out to him. That it's great that he's like making really big moves, and I hope they come back to it at some point. But I really loved The Read, and they would always talk about Steven Universe, and I was like, man, these grown ass people are talking about this kid show on Cartoon Network, but they would talk about it in a way that made it sound relatable and something that I could enjoy even in my, years, like my older age.
You honestly can. The show's very good. It feels warm to watch it.
Yeah, they said that I just want to watch something to make me feel good.
It feels good, but then also what's really, really cool about the show is when the show first starts, you won't realize it. The show first starts, and it's kind of just like a cartoon, and like stuff happens, but there's like a light continuity. There's like a light line drawn through it, and it's like feels lightly connected. But as it progresses, each episode becomes more and more connected to the point where I'm at now is it's not a random, like every episode follows the episode after it now, pretty much. Like,
yeah,
it is a legit continuity. There's an actual story.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the IMNerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.